watching the guys coming back now and watching the practices, like it's kind of cool. We don't have any freshmen. We don't have any rookies anymore. Like they all kind of know what they're supposed to be doing out there, and they've got a real business-like approach. No, it's a fun group to be around. We're 9-10, 9-10-1. For this group to get 9 wins in the first half of the season while they were trying to get their legs and find themselves and establish an identity, I couldn't be more proud of them. And it's going to be interesting to see what they can accomplish in the second half of the season.
Coach, you said historically that your teams really find their legs in the second half of the season, kind of piggybacking on what you're saying, given that this group, even though they're so young, seem to be so mature. Do you have a greater level of confidence heading into the second half of the season?
Can't you tell?
Yeah.
No, seriously, can't you tell?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, 100%. And they're ahead of the curve. Like they're ahead of the curve right now. They know what they need to do to give themselves a chance to win every night. And the other thing about like what makes you as a coach feel good, like if you aspire to win a championship, there's a lot of things you need to have. You need to have the ability, to come from behind. You got to have the ability to win on the road, but you also need to be comfortable in low-scoring games. And you can't feel comfortable if you're not sound defensively, you as a coach, as a player, it's like oh my God, you're just waiting for something bad to happen. And there's just a quiet calm because they know how to. We don't give people numbers. They defend the good ice, and there's a calm as a coach. And you get to that third period, and then it gets down to somebody's got, you need a bounce or somebody's got to make something happen either way, and the games are going to get decided. But I don't think there's anything more we can ask from the group that we have right now than to play the way they're playing. They have an identity. Get to that third period, and then let's see where the chips fall.
You mentioned a little bit of the injury bug, catching that towards the end of the first half of the season. How are the guys progressing? Excuse me. Particularly Guy Blessing, who had a lower body injury that last game.
Everybody is back. We don't have anybody in red jerseys. If you're out, the guys are practicing right now, and that's a good sign. We had a pile of red jerseys before, the last 3 weeks of the break. We had a pile of them. Everybody's out of red right now. Guy had tweaked something, growing something. There was something, but it wasn't. To be honest with you, if the season would have been on the line on that Saturday night, Bless would have played. But we just said no. Let's not take chances there. Let's not risk the second half of the season on the last Saturday before the break. And so we sat him, and it ended up paying dividends because not only did we rest him, and which was good, but the youngster Clafton got an opportunity to play, and he seized the moment. And we ended up winning without him. I mean, like I said, that was I had a lot of good Christmas presents. My family was home. My Vikings are doing good, and the boys finished the first half. That was a massive win. We had been on a little bit of slide, and a slide win-loss wise. It wasn't we were playing bad. We just weren't winning those third periods, and we were chasing it a little bit with the injuries. So winning that game, and the night before, if I go back, it's not ancient history, but the night before against Niagara, we played, we had a really good weekend, and that was on the eve of finals, and we went into overtime. We lost in overtime. I mean, we could have had 5 of the 6 points had we found a way to win the overtime game as well. So I'm real proud of that young, banged up group. They just don't. This group doesn't have any quit in them. They're all business, and they're fun to be around. And they love each other, and they love to play. They're resilient. I'm enjoying myself. It's like it's fun as a coach when you're out and you're in the game, and you got a group like that's paid the price. They don't cheat the company in any way, shape, or form. Practices, games, meetings. They're dialed in. And, as a coach, like you're always rooting for your team, but you really root for a group like that, and when they win, you feel great for them. When they don't, you feel bad for them because they've done everything in their power, to maximize their potential and be good and win. So this is an Air Force team that's easy to root for. Easy to root for.
So, Coach, you come back, and now you got to face the top team in the conference. Good thing without the time off, or is it one of those things the first night you're not so sure of just because it's been so long since you guys have played?
Are you talking about the Lions?
Yeah.
Yes. So we got both my teams are facing the top team in the conference. We got Sacred Heart, and the Vikings have got the Lions. I mean, so I got to compartmentalize here a little bit. Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough weekend.
Yes. Yeah. I got a 3-game weekend. I got Sacred Heart Friday, Sacred Heart Saturday, and I got the Lions on Sunday. So I'm gonna be resting up. You know what? As far as the Falcons against the Sacred Heart Pioneers, why not? We've got all our guys back. We've had some really good practices. Let's go out and find out where we sit on the food chain on the first weekend of the year. Let's go out and see where it's at. I like where we're at. We're healthy. Hey, I'd much rather be playing them now with all of our guys back than to have had to play them on that final weekend. Hey, nothing against Niagara because they were up amongst the top teams in the league too. But now this is and another thing, Rob, with this group, when you have a team like this, it's more about you than it is about the opponents. If we go out and play well defensively, it really doesn't matter who we play. If we can keep our opponents off the board and get to that third period where we're up by a goal, down by a goal, or it's tied, we're giving ourselves that chance to win in the third period. That's where it's at. So, yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned the top team in the league. I haven't even looked at it like that way because I'm looking at it more, are we ready to go out and do what we do, after the break? But trust me, we needed that break, not just physically, but we also needed it mentally. School's been a grind. It's been a grind for these guys. This fall has been really tough. Obviously, we've been challenged athletically with the schedule that we have, but academically and militarily, it's never been as challenging in all my time here as it's been this year. And I think our guys have handled it like champions.
What is the toughest thing when you come back from a long stretch of being off the ice in game mode, I guess?
Well, you come back from a long break and you worry about being rusty. But our philosophy's always been to take this long break. And sometimes, to start that second half of the year, maybe if we're a little rusty, it's one of those deals where at least we come back mentally fresh. Physically, maybe we have to take one step back in order to make 2 steps forward. But mentally we're fresh. Like I'm looking at bright eyes and energetic play, and that's what I'm seeing right now. Like the guys are happy to be back. They needed the break, and I'm looking at bright eyes in that locker room and a lot of energy on the ice, and that's fun to be around.
You mentioned there were lessons learned in the first half of the season. What were those lessons, and how are you looking to carry those over into the second half of the season?
Play defense first, because when we got behind, when we weren't playing sound defense, we're not built to win games 6-5, 5-4, or maybe even we're not going to win a lot of them 4-3. And the one thing that we learned collectively is, the formula for us is defense first, and we want to keep it. We want it to be a low-scoring game. We want to frustrate our opponents. We want them to get impatient in those low-scoring games. We got to stay competitively patient. We want them to get you get in that third period and she's 1-1 or 2-1 or 1-0. we want them to start to worry. We need to keep that quiet calm and keep doing what we're doing. Be competitively patient, knowing that eventually we're going to get that deciding goal. But the biggest, I think, to answer it in a nutshell, like we discovered our identity through all that in the first half. We discovered, hey, we found out in a quick hurry we're not going to outscore the Minnesota Gophers, and we ain't going to outscore the Sacred Heart Pioneers. We're not going to, outscore Mercyhurst in any of the teams in our league in a shootout. Like we're not going to outscore them in a shootout. But we can and will outshoot them in low scoring games.
Sometimes when you challenge athletes, excellence comes out of that. You've mentioned that the academic and military rigors are greater than what you've seen in your tenure here. Do you think that's contributing to the increased resilience you're seeing from this group?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, it ebbs and flows. I've been here a long, long time, 20 something years. I don't even know. I have to ask Toll. But the academics stays pretty much the same. Militarily, the way things go, that kind of ebbs and flows with the changes in leadership and whatnot. And the one thing about our hockey players, come in a little bit older. They come in at 20 years old, so they have a different level of maturity. And I think their time management skills are good right from the get-go. They've had to manage life a little bit after high school, coming into the academy, and I think all of that is a little bit of an advantage when you have these paradigm shifts. I think our guys just tend to deal with it, to handle it, and deal with it a little bit better than your typical student cadet that comes in right out of high school.
Coach, you were a goalie, right?
Not a good one, but yeah.
But when you're on teams who you knew the games had to be 2-1, 3-2, 1-0 to win, how much pressure does that put on a guy like Guy?
That's a really good question. That's a really good way to start out the year, man, with a really good question. We are almost there. We are almost there. The one thing, if you watch our team the last 8, 10 games, we're not giving up. Like, our guys protect the good ice, and the good ice is the ice between the dots in the middle of the rink. And we're doing a good job. Like, we're giving up some shots, but we're not giving up a lot of second shots, rebounds, loose change type things. The other thing we're not doing with our numbers back, we're not giving up those east-west passes where goalies don't have a chance. So the one thing about it as a goalie, when we're setting up our goalies to succeed, as long as they're not giving up leaky one-shot goals, if they're stopping the shots that they should be stopping, you know what I mean? And to win and win big, you got to stop all the ones you're supposed to stop, and you need to stop a few that maybe you shouldn't stop, And so we're asking Guy, and same with Carter when he played. I think there was one breakdown where Carter had to make a great save. It was in the second period down here. But we're not asking our goalies to be acrobatic gymnasts in there. We're playing pretty well in front of them. Yeah, you're going to have to face some shots, but they're not facing the second and third shots. They're not facing those east-west ones where it's tough to get from San Francisco to New York. That's. In today's game, that's how you beat these big goalies. We're not giving up a lot of that. So I think, from our goalie's perspective, from Guy's perspective, he has a lot of confidence in his ability to make the saves that he's supposed to make. So I think that there's a comfort level with that. When you're asked to make all those saves and then you're asked to make 6 or 8 of the other ones, now that's going to start to mess with your mind a little bit. But hopefully our group can continue to play the way we've played in front of him, and continue to take away those east-west passes and those second and third potential opportunities in front of the net.